Okay, we're live now. Is everything fixed up here like it's supposed to be? Okay. Saying hi. Well, it's still so early. People are, by the magic of technology, the people are still showing up in the screen, the stream. It's been a tiring day. I was working around the house. So wait till some more people get here. But I'll say, in the meantime, I'll say hi to Kazuya and Chrono. Glad that you could make it here. And there's Bless. Yeah, bless you are early. Bless your heart, you are early. Ford always has a better idea. If you remember the old commercial, you probably don't. They're not shown anymore. I guess that was more of a 60s, 70s, and 80s thing. Ford motor cars, And Yuki, hello. Okay, we've got 7 here so far. So just wait a couple more minutes. Some people do show up late, but it's also just that, I guess, because of the streaming technology, it takes maybe people already come in all at once, and then I guess the technology requires a few minutes for people to show up. And there's Detonator. I don't know if you've been here before, Detonator. Rachel, hey Rachel. Yeah, happy Saturday. Saturday night's all right. Channeling a little Elton John there. And hey there, Debbie. I'm glad to see you. Well, I know that I have a built-in moderator. I think it's the first time I like to delete the moderators from stream to stream so that there aren't too many, and so that somebody new has a chance to be the moderator, and I don't want to put it all on just one person either. But I'm glad that you're here, and I trust you'll be assuming the moderator duties. So welcome to everyone that gave up their Saturday night for a half an hour or maybe an hour, we'll see, and decided to show up. I think this is kind of an important live stream. And if you're just watching the replay, then I'm glad for you as well. So this is supposed to be about, well, I need to go over here to the banner and click on the banner here. Ask me questions about money and investing. Okay. Where are my notes over here? I put a bunch of extensive notes with it with the live stream this time. And I remembered also to mute the speaker, because I'm also going to leave the YouTube, the actual YouTube video on here, so I can check back from time to time and put up a poll here if we want to do a poll. The title of which I'm thinking of even at this moment. And Debbie says she's got my back. Thanks. So, we're going to test my investing knowledge this evening. It's maybe not required, but it's good to say that I'm not a financial advisor. I have no certifications. I considered, after I retired 5 years ago, becoming such and getting a certification. And I went around to some of the local investment types and gave them a very nice resume. And, my 35 years as a U.S. government financial analyst and all that. Well, anyway, that didn't come to anything. So the one thing I can do for those to give you objective and objective and unbiased advice. The opinion is my own, but I won't tell you anything that I know that's wrong. And if I'm not sure of something, then I won't answer a question. I do have an MBA in accounting. I graduated in the top 6% of my class, both in junior and senior college and in graduate school. First 2 years of college, I didn't do anything extraordinary. I didn't learn all of my financial knowledge, though, just from being a government financial analyst. You don't learn anything doing that. I learned it on my own. I'm self-taught. I also have 70 years of life experience, and I've done a lot of stupid stuff. We're only going to scratch the surface of everything during this stream. And some other notes I put in there in the description was about, we can talk about, I'll go through this real quick. Stocks, bonds, precious metals, crypto, commodities, investing strategies, retirement, budgeting, inflation, sector funds, growth versus value investing, investment newsletters, interest rates, how you value stocks based on earnings, book value, cash flow, and sales. Those are the main ways. The TV talking heads and their questionable advice, investing magazines, and index investing versus active investing. One thing I suggest that you do is to read a book. There are hundreds of good books about investing, and I've read a few of them, but there are just so many to keep up with. One book I would suggest above all the others as a philosophical basis for choosing passive investing over active investing, and passive means like index funds. Index funds don't try to beat the market. They try only to match it, to match the market minus the expenses of the fund. And this can get really confusing, but a book I would suggest would be by Burton Malkiel. He's kind of the grandfather of indexing. He wrote a book, A Random Walk Down Wall Street. Now, please don't go out looking for all these things while you're in the stream here. You can check it out later. If Burton Malkiel was the grandfather of investing, then probably John Bogle, who started the Vanguard Group, is the father of index investing, because he came out with the first widely available index fund for retail investors. That is, people, not institutions like banks, but just people like us. And people call it was an index fund of the S&P 500, and it still exists today. They call it Bogle's folly when it first started, because people didn't believe in it. A lot of people called it un-American, because as Americans, and some of you are from the UK, other countries, but it seems almost unpatriotic to say that you just want to do nothing more than just match the averages. But the truth is, just an index fund, a plain simple index fund, has beaten 90% of all the other funds over the same period of time. And that first index fund appeared in 1976. I believe it was 76. And I sure wish that I had just invested in that fund back then and just not done anything else that I have ever done. There's no guarantees, but just a plain, simple, dumb index fund beats nearly everything else. I also tell you, don't entirely trust any financial advisor. They're all making money somehow. And try to seek out someone that has a widely respected designation, like a certified financial planner or chartered financial consultant. And make sure that they're a fee-only planner. If you can, that they charge only fees like for a specific encounter or counseling, like by the hour is usually how it's done. And you need to choose your, I don't know what the certifications are in other countries, in UK, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, and so on. But I'm sure they have equal certifications. So I'm going to jump over here to, let's see, I haven't done this before, I think, with the streaming. I jump over here to, let's see, to share, try to share the screen, and I jump over to Chrome. The first thing I'm going to go through very quickly here will be, which is the first thing, Trip, is professional designations. Now I'm sharing this screen with you. Can you see this screen? It says FINRA in the upper corner. It should be the only thing on your page. There's supposed to be a way that how can I do this? Or maybe there's something else on the page. Can you see this screen? It says FINRA up in the upper left-hand corner. Yes, we can. Bless says, yes, we can see it. Okay, good. Jump down here. This is professional designations. So I just want to show you briefly how many designations there are out there. I'm going to take the letter A here. I'm going to click on it. Hoping this is working right and you can see this. I've never tried to do this before. Let me click on my own screen here and see how big it is. Yeah, I think you can see that. Okay. This is just all the professional designations under the letter A, and I'm not going to go through them all. Accredited Advisor in Insurance. That's AAI's acronym. Accredited Asset Management Specialist. Accredited Behavioral Finance Professional. Accredited Beneficiary Stewardship Program. Accredited Domestic Partnership Advisor. Accredited Estate Planner. That's all I'll go through. The point here is that, and I've never even heard of most of these. What was the point, Trip? The point is that there were too many designations out there. I'm just going to click on one. How about accredited? Oh, here's one like Accredited Domestic Partnership Advisor. You can click over here on the right side and look at the details. It gives the organization that offers it, the College for Financial Planning, is a reputable organization. Education requirements, ADPA. I don't even know what that means. You take a final exam. Continuing education is 16 hours. I was trying to find one that didn't have very rigorous, even sketchy credentials, perhaps. How about accredited financial counselor? That sounds kind of generic. Must have 1,000 hours of financial counseling experience. Well, what is that? Submit 3 letters of reference attesting to professional competence and experience. Education requirements. You take a few courses here and a final exam at a testing center. Most of these are not very rigorous designations. I'm going to get out of here real quick now. Hoping I don't mess up anything. I'm going to jump over to let's see if you're following me here. I'm going to go back into the share screen again. Here is the share screen, which I'm now in the process of sharing. Okay, broker check. And I'll share this. I guess you can see it now. Okay, this is how you go and look up a financial advisor. This is in the United States only, maybe Canada, I'm not really sure. I would hope that every country has one of these. You just put in the name of the financial advisor or their CRD number. All advisors have a CRD number here. Or the name of the company. And then you can look it up. I'm not going to pull up anybody's name here because I don't want you to think I'm promoting anybody. Here's also for, you can look up by the firm name. Well, what's wrong with looking up, let's say, Wells Fargo. Well, let's do. And you can see about 22 million advisors with Wells Fargo. Well, you can click down here and get more details and see if there's any, if there are any actions against any of these advisors, like anything that they've done wrong. And if there is, then of course you want to steer clear of them. Where will I go to next? Like I said, I'm going through these pretty fast, you see. Share the screen. The only couple more to do. So please don't leave me yet. Don't leave me yet. Okay, this is in the US again. You can contact your state regulator, and they have some good information. You click on so it is for Canada also. It's for the US and Canada. I need to go on through this real quick, okay? The last one I'm going to do here is, you're saying, golly, finally got to the end of it. From talk. Millennial Money Mission. So this is a reputable group here too. And I won't go into the details behind the website, except that it's kind of tailored toward millennials. Budgeting, compound interest, fear of investing, smartphone apps. Oh, look at her hair. Look at that. It's like Jimi Hendrix. So, a lot of good stuff on this page here. Here's some stuff over on the right side. Investor advisories. What type of investor are you? The Fraud Center. Really need to check that out. And this isn't the only place you can find great information. There's good stuff out there to read about. So I'm going to get out of. Am I out of there yet? Yeah, I guess I got out of the screens properly. The only thing you should be able to see now is just me. So I'm going to go back up here to the beginning. I'm down to only 7 viewers right now. I didn't know how popular this was going to be. And I started to do a lot of studying about it. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I was afraid I would put in a lot of time on it and then nobody much would show up. So I hope we have more than this. This will be very disappointing, but I'm glad that you're here, and I'll proceed on as though there were 10,000 people in this stream. Just say hi quick to everybody here. Joanne, Rachel, EOIC, Yuki, Debbie. I think I already did this, didn't I? Okay. Yuki wants to ask what investing is. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to go through these really quick. I mean, you really need to get an investing book and do some reading. We certainly can't cover here, but basically investing is trying to find a way to maintain your money and increase it over time. That's the simplest quick thing I can say in this little stream. So it's how do you save and make your hard-earned dollars grow. Charles II. Says, hi Trip, it's been a while since I've been in one of your streams. Yes, I think I remember the name Charles. Joanne is scared of investing and just keeps her money in a separate account and nothing's happening, but at least I'm not losing it. Yeah, but you have to do a lot better than that, or you'll just be left behind. Before I go any further, there was one other thing in my notes here that I wanted to say. Where was it? Oh goodness, maybe I maybe I put it on the description for the stream. Oh, here it is. If you don't know what else to do, rather than just being confused, you should max out any retirement accounts you have. And as far as what to invest in, until you can learn more about it, if you're not sure, then you should look for a target date fund. I mean, I would suggest that. I'm not a financial advisor, but I know a lot about this stuff. I have to tell you honestly, or else I wouldn't be doing this stream. So the big mutual fund companies have target dated funds, and that's basically where it takes your age. You just whatever age you're in, and it selects probably a fund of funds. It'll be one fund, but it'll be invested. That one fund will be invested in a lot of separate funds. That's kind of a no-brainer. If you rather than just wait and be scared, look for a target date fund. It'll be based on your age or and therefore when you're planning to retire, if you're like the typical working person. There's another thing you can do is look for a risk strategy fund of funds. And the big investment companies have these too. That's whereby you select based on how risk oriented you are. Like there might be 4 choices. Commonly there's 3 or 4 or 5 choices. One might be for income. Maybe you're later in life and you're retired and you just want income. The next higher risk might be a conservative strategy, maybe like conservative growth, like you're not investing in a lot of really, really risky type stocks and risky bond funds. You wouldn't have as much money overseas normally if you're investing in this kind of fund. And then a higher one might be a growth fund. And when you're young, you probably should have just about everything in stocks with a nice representation of overseas stocks too. But these are risk strategy type funds. And finally, I'd say maybe the simplest one of all would just be one fund. It also would be a fund of funds, usually, but it would be one fund that's investing in many other kinds of funds or several other kinds of funds. These might be U.S. stocks, U.S. bonds, foreign stocks, foreign bonds. Some of it be in the money market. This would be just a one-size-fits-all fund. So it would have less. You might not like this if you're younger because it would have less risk. And when you're young, you need to accept more risk because you have decades of life before you to make it up if something goes wrong with the economy. And if you're an older person, you may not like this kind of fund because you should be taking less risk as you get older. But this is one fund. Any of these selections are funds you can pick that it's just kind of a one decision or very few decisions you have to make. And you can get on with concentrating on your work and concentrating on life and ignore 90% of all the junk out there. Ignore the sector funds and chasing stocks, investment newsletters and talking heads, the magazines, investment magazines. You can just ignore all of that. So I just wanted to point that out before I went further here. Where was I? And here's okay, I don't know what that is. Chrono says, I think school should teach us more about money and investing. Yeah, that would be great if they did, but they don't. You know, They're more about, what is it, a lot of them are about, at least in the U.S., social promotion and feeling good about ourselves and twisting history around or whatever. A lot of progressive ideas that really won't teach you anything. Sorry. And Bless hopes to learn some new things tonight that know anything about investing. Oh, Claw, thank you for the super chat. I go ahead and mention my usual advertisement. You can support the channel with super chats and super stickers, and I have my lonely PayPal link down there in the description. Claus says, I would love to hear your financial journey and how you decide what to pull from in retirement. Well, how can I summarize that in just a very short time? I can't even summarize it in just a short time, except basically, like I said before, I grew up working on a farm. I've spoken of that in other streams, playing in bands, and then working a couple of other jobs in the government for 35 years. Did a lot of dumb things along the way, and what to pull from in retirement, I'm not sure what that means. I don't think that you mean this, but when you do retire, you should pull money, first of all, from your taxable accounts. And the last thing, the next thing you should pull from would probably be Roth IRAs and Roth 401ks. And the last thing should be the Roth IRAs, because you want to give the accounts that are tax advantaged the longest possible time to increase, to compound, that is. Debbie says, in high school in the 80s, they never taught us much about investing. Even in college, I never had to take financial courses since I was a music major. Yeah, art majors really don't know anything about investing. My cousin was a music teacher, and she didn't know anything about it at all. And yeah, if I'd been a full-time musician for my life, which I never would have done, then certainly I probably would not have known anything about investing. That's why a lot of professional musicians lose a lot of their money. Timekeeper says, sorry for the out-topic question, but will you come back with some Minecraft gameplays? It's been an amazing update. I don't really see doing much Minecraft again. I do gaming. Says, what type of money topics are we talking about? Well, that's in the description. I've already gone over that at the beginning of the live stream, and it's also in the video description. There was a lot. Basically, there isn't time to be teaching much, and I'm glad I didn't spend a lot of time developing lessons, because I have so very few streamers who are interested in being here. Last week we had like 40 was the most. So far this evening, it's been only 7 or 8. So, you who are here are willing to give up a half an hour or an hour on Saturday night. So we're going to continue on. But you see, most people don't really care. And there are many other places to learn this from, but most of them are trying to sell you something. I'm not. I'm just telling you the real story here. Hi there, Jack Marston. Blamp Post. Hi there, Blamp. Or shall I call you Post? Can I call you by your first name? And Aiden the Beastly Gamer. Oh, that's scary, man. How's it going, Aiden? Dude the Claw Says, that's what I was asking. Thanks for the response. I'm 34 and try to do as much past tax investing, or is it post-tax investing? I should have gone over here, and I'm going to do that right now. Jump over. Hope I don't shut the computer down. I need to go to settings, being very careful here. Ease of access, like I have to do every stream, and I forgot about that. So I can make the text bigger. Applying it now. And now I can see it much better. Excellent. Yeah. 34. Claw. It's time to get serious. It looks like maybe you're trying to do the right thing so far. But, a lot of people, they just have a good time in their 20s. And some people carry that on through the 30s. But by the time you're 40, by the time you're in your 40s, that's where it can almost be too late. You've got to decide by then. I've heard advisors say, oh, well, it's never too late to start investing. Yeah, it is too late. By the time you get to your 50s, you're pretty much done. You're toasted on both sides. You've pretty much decided on how you're going to retire by what you've done before you get to your 50s. I draw one distinction here. Even your 50s is not too late to have good financial habits. And you may need them if you don't have anything saved. By the time you retire, you're going to need some good financial habits. Ford says, I trust you on this topic more than any big flamboyant advisor. What? I'm not flamboyant? You just get straight down and tell it how it is. Yeah, I have nothing to lose by it. This is kind of my ministry or my mission, Gaming says, I see that precious metals are in the description. I don't really understand that. What's up with it? Precious metals is anything that's mined out of the earth, except, well, nothing like coal. It would be things like gold, silver, platinum, diamonds. Those are the main ones, I guess. And sometimes, or many times, you'll see people on TV, these talk shows where they have gold commercials, silver commercials. I'll just tell you how the past has been for gold and silver as an investment. There were 2 or 3 times over the last 30, 40 years where they were real big, like 2008. And then back around 1980, 81, gold and silver went up real high then. But it all came crashing down. So to me, gold and silver, there's nothing wrong with having an ETF, an exchange traded fund with maybe 5% in precious metals to hopefully protect against inflation, although over time it has failed to do so. Over time, the best investment has been equities, stocks. Okay. They've had their bad times. Every investment goes through good and bad time. But over time, over the last 100 years, the best investment has been equities. One of the worst investments has been like precious metals, gold, silver, commodities. Oh, Debbie, thank you for the super sticker. I still haven't figured out the difference between a super chat and a super sticker. I thought the sticker always had like a little funny little icon on there jumping back and forth, and the chat was just kind of more basic like that. I thought that was a super chat. Okay, I love these. What are the questions here? Tango Mango Rango. How much is 5 pounds of gold worth nowadays? Oh, golly, isn't it like, I can't remember, it's like, it's around $2,000 an ounce, so that would be, I can't do all this math in my head. 2,000 from 5 would be 10,000 times 5 pounds, 10,000 times 16 ounces. What's that, 160,000, 160 million? I don't know. Anyway, it would be about 5 times 2,000 times 16 ounces. I can figure this out real quick. I can just go over here to Market Watch and okay, an ounce of gold that was pretty close. $1,796 right now. So there you are. That's an ounce. Multiply that by 5 pounds okay? Oh no, way off on that, gaming. It's actually, like I just said, almost $1,800 an ounce. Tacitus Kilgore. I remember my mother says, I remember my mother was the investor in the family, so she taught me to always consider investment as a plan. Yes, you really do need an investment plan. You don't need as complicated one if you're just starting out or you don't have much money. But if you don't have anything, and it's better to write something down. It's kind of like goals. It's better to write things down. If you haven't done that, then your default investment plan is just zero. You don't have a plan at all. You just go from day to day. So everybody should have something written down if you intend to. I would say most everybody, when you start working and trying to save money and have a family, then you should write down your plan. And you should have something written down that has all of your, however many investment accounts you have, your insurance, or all of, and contacts in case something happens to you. Even if you're single, you need to have everything written down on 1 or 2 pieces of paper with all of your account numbers, and have it where somebody that you trust can get hold of it if something happens to you. Claude wants to know, what are my thoughts on financing things like cars, furniture, and TVs? I really thought I'd have trouble with some of these questions, but so far they're pretty basic. When you finance something that, if it's things that you really need, like for your house or your apartment, for basic furniture, a basic car to get back and forth with, if you can afford a car now, and everybody wants to have a TV. These are one-time things that you'd be buying, but I don't believe in financing them at all, ever. It's better to save up your money and pay cash for it, because you'll be getting, let's just say that you don't have a lot of money. You need to keep it safe, so you have it in an account. And I don't care what country you're in the US or Japan or Europe, you're going to get almost zero for your money. So why would you be paying out uh, 10, 15% or more to finance things that depreciate? So don't borrow money to finance things that depreciate. The only thing I could see borrowing money for would be maybe like a car, because that's a bigger ticket item, and mainly for a house, a condominium, or an apartment, or someplace where you're going to live. And I would never finance speculation either. In other words, I would never use leverage. Never buy any kind of investments on leverage. What's the name? What's the name for it? I've never used margin. I've never used it. That's one thing that brought the economy down during the Great Depression. And these things, it contributed to the fall in 2000, in the 2008 market. What else? Utani didn't know that I was Egyptian. Now, what makes you think that I'm Egyptian? I'm not. So just wondering what made you, why would you think that I was Egyptian? And I'll go back up to the question. EOIC wants to know, what are the top 3 international mutual funds of 2020? Just watched a video on it. I have no idea. I cannot tell you what the top 3 mutual funds are of anything, whether it's bonds, stocks, or anything. And if you buy these magazines, they'll have the stories like the 10 funds you should own now, the 10 stocks you should own now. That's all hogwash. Just buy an index fund. Have your invest what they call dollar cost average, so much every month. After you have enough cash put aside for to have like 6 months of worth of living expenses, something like that. So I don't keep up with what the top funds are. There are no idea. Gaming heard the housing market might crash soon. What are my thoughts? Yeah, I have thoughts about that. And you hear it might crash, and there'll be people who will still be trying to sell you houses. Nobody knows. I thought a year ago that it was going to crash, but as long as the Federal Reserve has cheap money out there, as long as interest rates are zero, people can borrow for virtually nothing, prices would continue to go up. And one day, the next generation will have to deal with the fallout from that when a lot of things really do start coming down. It is unsustainable what they have done, but they're making them, they're upsetting all the markets, and not just the housing market, but stocks and everything else. Bonds too. Bonds are paying almost nothing now. So if rates go up a little bit, then people who own bonds will get crushed, because bonds, you lose money in bonds when when interest rates go up, and you make money in bonds when interest rates are going down. Okay, Utani, yeah, I see what you mean. The Egyptian thing, is that Egyptian? Something like that. In the thumbnail that I was doing, yeah. I just thought I'd be a little bit funky, something different. Not always so, what was it? Somebody one time said I was boring in a stream or someplace. I don't know. So, where was I here? Yeah, ask me some questions. We only have about 17 minutes left, and I have 17 people here. For part of the stream, it was only about 5 or 6. Oh, I was going to do a little, what you call it, a poll here too. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, where do I do the poll thing here? I like to have these polls for every live stream. Okay, and it's very simple here. Wait a minute. I actually had a question written down, didn't I? Oh, by the way, subscribe and ring bells for notifications. Okay, here was the poll. It's real simple. I'm just going to copy it over here to the poll. Do you have a money plan? That's all. I'm asking my community now. There you are. I trust that the poll has made it up there okay. So do you have a financial plan or a money plan? Do you have just a list of all of your accounts, so that if something happened to you, that your husband, wife, partner, your parents, or somebody would be able to make sense of your financial dealings, your insurance, everything. Okay. Hey there, Ed. I'm doing well. Claus says, I'm interested in the housing market question from I do gaming as well. Yeah, a lot of people are interested in the housing question right now. I just know that a year ago I was scared of housing, and I felt bad, and I still do, for people who are being left behind because of the actions of the government with the stimulus given out because of the the pandemic, the interest rates at zero, and the quantitative easing, where the government just creates money out of thin air. Because of that, the price of housing has gone up far above what most people can afford. Young people especially are being locked out of the housing market. But also it's affected the price of rents. Rents have gone up faster than ever before with inflation. So I feel bad about people who are maybe caught between, the decision of whether to take a chance on housing and risk a big fall in housing, or whether to continue to sit on the sidelines and watch the prices of housing go up, with the alternative being apartments, which are going up too, the price of rent. Ed says, I see the poll, but can't select an option. Why? Is anybody else having trouble selecting an option for the poll? No, people are able to select it. So I don't know what the problem is with how you've signed on or something. Um, I don't know. Just keep trying. Implication says 401k, Roth IRA max each year, physical silver, crypto, and traditional investments. So that's what you're investing in? Okay. Physical silver, so it's not an ETF. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have too much silver or gold around the house. Of course, you might have it in the bank, safe deposit box. Crypto, yeah, I bought some crypto, a crypto index fund about a year ago and made a little bit of money on it, but I would never do it again. Crypto is pure speculation. And I think that if it became the government, all the governments want to control the money supply, want to control money. So they can wipe out crypto just like that if they want to. And some governments are looking at having their own form of some kind of crypto money. When they do that, it might exclude all the other things like Bitcoin and Doja Coin and some other jokes like that. Traditional investments, I guess you mean like stocks and bonds. Yeah. Yeah. Max out the 401k and the Roth. Forward, thanking God. We just bought the land we're moving to this summer. I know some people who are trying to buy a house and it's becoming a struggle. Yeah, and if you buy the house, can you pay it off? So I'm glad you did that you already got the land thing done. That's great. Hi there, Nikola Dmitrijevic. Implications as my dog is my safe deposit boxes. My dog. I'm trying to figure that out. Gaming says if the U.S. government gets control of Bitcoin, the crypto market is going to crash. I think that's probably a true statement. And I don't know a lot about crypto, but I probably know more, far more than most older people, I would say. Yeah, that's what they will do. I think the governments, if it came down to it, they would just sort of crash the crypto. Are there any other questions here? Any other questions about money and investing? I'm disappointed that we didn't have more people, even on a Saturday night. But the questions I got were good, and so far I haven't been stumped. Remember, the title was Stump the Boomer. I'm doing very well, Nicola. Implication thinks they will regulate crypto soon. No doubt about it. Well, if it becomes a threat to the financial system, they will regulate it. Now, Canada already has some crypto index funds, which might be a little safer than just buying the crypto itself, because you don't know which of the cryptos are going to survive. The U.S. is still working on an ETF, a crypto ETF index fund, and the Securities and Exchange Commission, I don't think they've approved one yet. I can't remember. I was following this for almost a year. I mean, I would kind of pay attention to it. But the SEC would not let these fund companies start these ETFs. So I'm not sure if they've done that or not. Can you say my name? I'm going to take a chance here, take a stab at it. It's kind of a Slavic or maybe a Serbian name. Georgia Nikolic. Georgia Nikolic. I'm gonna try. So let me jump back over here to the poll and see where we are. So 54% of you are saying no, you don't have any kind of a financial plan or investment plan. So 54 no, 46 yes. Okay. Jump back over here to the stream. There, Georgia says nice. I guess I was pretty close to the pronunciation. Oh, here's another one I need to be careful of. Let's see. Matja Blagojevic. Hoping I got that close. Bryn Linnaeus. I turned 31 today. I started at 30 saving money. I made $26 an hour working on a cold storage facility. Saved up $20,000. Don't know what to do with really besides keep saving it for my retirement. Well, let's see if you started saving. You're 31, so you started saving at 30. So you've already saved a pretty good bit of money. Then you should probably go back to maybe the first of the stream and read what I said about where you should invest if you simply have no other idea about what to do with your money. That was something like the risk, like the targeted funds, target date funds, or just one simple fund of funds. Implication says, ask, do I think Joe Manchin can hold his ground long enough to prevent the BBB, the triple B, and head off the massive inflation it would create? I certainly hope that he will. And the triple B is the Biden calls it Build Back Better, and I call it Build Back Broker, because we'll be a lot broker. I mean, we're broke already. We'll just be broker, and we already have high inflation. He's a very brave man. A very brave man to be standing against his own party, the Democrats. So, are there any other quick questions? We're coming up on an hour, and my voice is having a little trouble here. And I thank Debbie Noderer for being the moderator of the stream. I'm glad I didn't put a lot of time into really presenting like a tutorial about all investing, but it kind of turned out that way anyhow, because I only have about, the most I've had it stream is maybe 15, 16, 17 people. But I promise you, go to some other streams, you'll find a bunch of people with maybe playing. I won't call any kinds of content out, but just silly, trivial junk. And there's a place for everything, you know. But I thought today was a place for this. So I'm not making anything from this. It's just impartial advice. Yeah, Manchin gets a bad rap, but works for his constituents, which most politicians seem to forget. I think he's working for the entire United States because he's keeping us from going broker and pushing inflation higher. I think if he worked for his constituents, he'd be more selfish, like most everybody in Congress is. Most of them look after their own districts so they can get elected. But it's rare when you find a man who's trying to do the best for the greatest good. Hi there, Matthew. Hope you've been here for a while because we're getting ready to wind up this stream. Nikola Dmitrijevic would be happy to be a moderator. Okay, well, I think I would feel safe you doing that, but you just have to be here at the beginning of the stream and be the first one who wants to be a moderator. Probably the one who's moderated the most is Debbie Noderer, who's moderating this evening, but I don't want it to put everything on her all the time. And it would be good to have, 3 or 4 people who could kind of stand in sometimes. Matthew's moving to Japan in a few months and really excited of getting a teaching job. Yeah, that's going to be, do things when you're young, travel when you're young, just like me going to Europe. That'll be really great. Be teaching in Japan, teaching anywhere overseas. I think that's going to be it then. And I'm going to tell you all good evening. And thank you for showing up and spending an hour of your Saturday evening. And I will catch you all again later. Ending broadcast. Ending broadcast. Good night, all. Debbie, implication, Ford.